Welcome to the Courage to Be podcast. I am your host, Tanya Vasallo. This week I am celebrating 20 years of marriage. Woo! That's a huge celebration, right? And we've been together for 26 years. So I wanted to talk about what's important, the three pillars that kept us together for these 26 years, in relationship, me and my husband. And this goes not just for marriage or partnership, but also just any relationship. I think these three pillars apply for anything, any person that's in relationship with another person, whether it's a friend, whether it's a spouse or a partner, someone you live with, or it could even just be family too. So let's talk about the three different pillars. Are you ready? The first one is trust. And trust wasn't always easy for me. I was in a relationship before I was with Ben, with my husband. And every time I'd go out, I was much younger. I was in my early 20s, and so you're starting to figure things out. But every time I'd go out, this particular boyfriend, he would immediately accuse me of flirting with other men, and that was not my intention. I was never doing that. He was always like suspicious of it. So there was a lack of trust in the relationship, so that ends up taking a toll on the relationship and the person that's being accused, because you're not being trusted for just being yourself. It'll end up affecting the relationship. And in contrast with my husband, there's always been freedom. I can go out, I can travel, I can do things, he can do things. Like there's always this trust is just implied. It's there. There's no doubts or is he keeping things secret from me or anything else, So trust is a really important thing to have in our relationships. And it's not about controlling someone. It's about choosing to believe that you believe in them. So keep that one in mind. So trust. The second one is communication, and we don't have to be, like talking constantly. But what I mean by communication is to talk about how we feel. How are we feeling seen? Does the other person understand what's happened? Did the other person say or do something to make you feel a certain way? And can you advocate and communicate for yourself what that did or how that's affecting you? Like you do have to have some form of communication to understand what the other person, because no one's a mind reader, right? No one can just read your mind and be like, oh, okay, that's what's going on. And especially for women, we tend to be more of like, we go silent and then we expect the men in our life to kind of interpret. I know that's a very generalized statement, but think about it. Like, do you go around expecting this person that you're in relationship with to read your mind? So whether it's something small or something that's life-changing, we've always made space to speak and to listen to each other, me and my husband. And the third one is respect. And I have a story here that pops out to me throughout all these years, which is I used to be involved with Landmark Education. I was involved with them for 5 to 10 years. I did the forum, did their advanced course. I was doing all these things with Landmark. And I invited my husband multiple times to Landmark, thinking that maybe he'd want to sign up and we'd have better tools for communication, that it would enhance our relationship. But he never chose to do it. And I had to be okay with that. And I respected it, and so it's important to respect the other person's beliefs, whether it's religious beliefs, political beliefs, any type of belief that they might have, and just respect what their interests are or how they're wanting to do it. It's important to keep that in mind because you want to give space to the other person. It's almost like I'd almost include in this one, like giving freedom to each other to do whatever you want. I take my parents' example too. Like my dad is the most extroverted person that there is out there, whereas my mom is the complete opposite on the spectrum. She's the most introverted. And so my dad goes out and he's with his buddies and he'll go traveling. They might have dinners. They have different opinion. They even have different spiritual views, and religious views. They come from different cultures, the same as me and my husband. My husband's Jewish. I was born in Spain, Catholic country, even though I'm not a practicing Catholic. So do you have that respect with that other person that you're with? And especially in this day and age where everything is so polarized, I really invite you to, whoever you're with in relationship, to think and ask yourself the question, do I respect them? And do I give them that space? And always remember that respect is not agreeing, it's allowing. So those are the 3 pillars. And as we're wrapping up, I do want to add something else, that I think the foundation underneath these 3 pillars is this person bringing out the best in me? And am I bringing out the best in them? Because I can't just be one way. And sometimes I always believe that a relationship is 50-50, but it's never going to be 50-50 at the exact same time. Sometimes it's 80-20, or 40-60. So you do want to ask yourself that question of, is this person bringing out the best in me or the worst in me? And am I doing the same for them? Because you might be bringing out the best in them, but they're not bringing out the best in you. So keep that in mind. And I think that question of, are they bringing out the best in me and am I doing it for them, is one of the most important things and the foundation before you're going to start putting these pillars on top of it. So keep this in mind. Again, this is not just about marriage. It's not about partnerships. It's about all kinds of relationships that you have. It could be with your kids. It could be with your friends. It could be with your partners in business, partners at home. And you deserve a relationship that elevates you. So where you can elevate others too and have these friendships. When you get to a certain age in life, you want to surround yourself with people and be in relationship with the people that are going to bring the best out of you. So until our next episode, let me know how you're doing with your relationships. And if there's any other pillars that maybe you would have added to this, you can comment on YouTube and let me know. And until our next episode, I'll talk to you soon. If you loved today's episode, it would mean so much if you rate and review The Courage to Be on Apple Podcast. Not only does it help the show to grow, but it also gets you in the running for something amazing. Every month, I draw one lucky winner to receive a complimentary 7-night, 8-day vacation. You'll get to pick from over 3,000 beautiful resorts worldwide. You just cover the taxes and fees like you would with a travel rewards. Airfare is not included. And if you want to double your chances, along with your Apple Podcast review, leave a couple of comments on YouTube. That counts as a second entry. Just send your screenshots to help.thecouragetobe@gmail.com. and you'll find the email in the show notes too. It only takes a moment, and who knows, your next adventure might be closer than you think. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on our next episode of the Courage to Be podcast.